Hello, I am Tony Memmel, and this is the third and final video in the series of videos that I've been doing with Hise Elementary School in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm currently working with them as an artist in residence for the entire spring semester, where we've been putting together these videos, having Skype sessions, primarily about songwriting, but also about art, visual art, poetry, things like that as well. And so with all of that in mind, I'm so excited to do this final video today and to dig into one more set of topics before actually going to visit them in about 2 weeks out in Madison, Wisconsin in person. So the video that we decided on today, I'm going to use my iPad because it's such a in-depth topic that I took some notes that I wanted to prepare, and here we go. The topic that I brainstormed with the teachers was, what songs and art inspire you? And going deeper than when you're thinking about art, then I like it or I don't like it. How can we talk about it a little bit differently? What makes you think differently from viewing or listening to different forms of art? And I really had to do my homework for this one, aka, or I should say, that's why I'm also using my iPad, because I definitely need some notes with all that I'm going to try to unpack. And so I've been listening to a lot of my favorite music, looking at journals I've kept from visiting art museums around the world, and really thinking about what draws me to artists and stories. So I'm gonna do it in 3 different sections. The first section I want to talk about is painting and sculpture. And my favorite visual artist is Michelangelo. When I was 20 years old, I had the opportunity to travel all over Europe. And I got to see so much art. I went to the best art museums in the world, arguably. I got to go to the Louvre in France. I got to travel all over Florence and Rome. I got to see art dating all the way back to ancient Roman times. And there was something special about Michelangelo's art. And I want to try to unpack what I felt and thought about when I saw it. There were a few pieces that really stood out. His statue of David, La Pietà. But the one I want to talk the most about is the Sistine Chapel, which is in Rome. And it's this beautiful entire ceiling of a chapel that's painted by Michelangelo. And it took him 3 years to do. So in addition to actually seeing the art and thinking that that was really cool, I think what really sticks with me about that piece is the story behind it. Because there's 343 figures painted on the ceiling. It took him 3 years. 3 years to paint it. Can you imagine spending that much time painting? And then what I also thought was really cool is he actually had to build his own ladders and scaffolding so that he could be supported up above the floor of the church for so long over that course of the piece of art being completed. Wow. And that just reminds me of the dedication that it must have taken, and the patience and the commitment to an idea, knowing that something special will come out on the other side of all this hard work. And that just really stuck with me after seeing that. It must have really tested his mental, emotional, and physical strength limits. Also, I'd like to talk about poetry. So when I was thinking about my favorite poets and poems, the one that I kept coming back to was Robert Frost. And there are 2 poems in particular. They're very famous poems. One is called Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, and one is called The Road Less Taken. And while he writes about, what I like about it is, while he's writing about nature, he's really talking about people. And when I was thinking about this, I remember when I played a concert at Hise last year, I had the opportunity to play a song from one of my favorite Disney movies, the movie Toy Story. And I remember asking the students, by show of hands, how many of you have seen the movie Toy Story? And I remember a lot of hands going up, so I thought I might be able to talk about this for just 1 second. So while on the surface, the movie Toy Story is about toys that come to life when their owner leaves the room. There's also an underlying part of the story that talks about envy and true friendship and learning about who you are made to be and being confident in yourself. And so when I think about that and try and think about how that looks in a Robert Frost poem, he writes stories about the woods and the snow and paths in the trees, but he's talking about decisions we make in life, how what we decide to do today affects who we will become tomorrow, and the importance of developing strong character. And so when I think about that, that is why I really like Robert Frost's work. And the final category is probably the most obvious. It's music, because music is the art form that really speaks the most to me, and the one that I do for a living and for my whole entire life is music. And so it also makes it the toughest to narrow down, because I like music of all kinds. I like classical, country, hip hop, choral, reggae, and rock. So I've picked a few styles of music and a few stories that might help unpack music a little bit for me when I try and dig deeper into what I actually like about it. So the first style, songs about faith. I grew up singing in the church choir, and faith is just the most important thing in my life. I like this kind of music because it makes me hopeful, and I like singing with other people, so I think it's really powerful when many voices sing together. The second style is Irish folk music. So though my family has a diverse background and heritage, my grandmother's love of our Irish roots was deeply instilled in me. She used to tell me folk tales and sing me songs. And my favorite one is a reflection on life itself. It's called The Parting Glass, and it's about a person reflecting on life before moving on to another stage. And this song has marked a lot of occasions in my life, which is another reason that it's powerful to me. In college, one of the final things I had to do before I received my degree was to complete what's called a senior recital. So I had to sing songs and prepare an entire concert of music that I would do. I had to sing in English, Italian, French, German, and Latin. And to conclude that concert, I sang for my family and friends and all those in attendance a song called The Parting Glass. And what's really cool about this song musically is that there's no guitar accompaniment, no piano, no strings, no trumpets. It's just a voice. So it's just me singing that song, singing those words. It's called a cappella. And it marked that occasion of moving from college into my new life outside of school, actually applying everything I'd learned in the world. And it may sound strange, but because my family knows how much I love music, I've been asked to sing this at 3 funerals in my family. And it may sound like a really sad thing, but it actually brings me a lot of joy. Because the fact that my family would ask me to share my gift of music with them on an important day like that makes me feel purposeful, and to have the opportunity to share my gift or my talent or my ability on good days and hard days. And it also is a reminder as we wrap up this whole semester about how art and music are completely interwoven in every area of our lives. And finally, I love rock and roll and I love pop music. I love artists like Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan. Lyrics and guitars, lyrics and guitars, lyrics and guitars. And so why do I like the lyrics and the guitars? Lyrics. When I listen to a song and it has the power to go right through my ears and into my heart, which sounds kind of funny, but you maybe have experienced that happen to you before in the music that you appreciate. This style of music and these particular writers that I mentioned have that way with words. and that Way with Words hits me in a really special way. And it inspires me to want to try and do the same thing, to share my experience through music and hopefully to have that story impact someone else. And the guitar is the underlying instrument in a lot of rock and pop music, and so I like to be able to accompany myself, to play and sing at the same time. And there's a sense of, when I first started to learn to play the guitar, there was a sense of freedom and hope with it. I hoped that maybe by learning to play the guitar, I might have the opportunity to play my guitar in front of many people. I might have the opportunity to travel. I might have the opportunity to write something really powerful and purposeful. And so those two things working together, those lyrics and guitars, really are what has driven my whole life and appreciation in music. Finally, I thought I'd do one last category, and that is what is inspiring me today. And it's the voice of a singer named Alison Krauss. She's a bluegrass and country and Americana singer. Maybe you've heard of her, maybe you haven't, but it's definitely music that I would recommend checking out, because when she sings, it sounds so smooth and so clear that when I hear it, I sometimes just have to close my eyes and stop in my tracks and just take in that beautiful music. And that's how powerful it is. And I just want to thank the students at Van Hise and the teachers there for encouraging me to make these videos and for providing me the opportunity to work with them over these last few weeks. I'm so excited for the weeks to come. Have a great day, and until I see you again, keep writing.